Arman had almost forgotten what real sunlight felt like. After 7 long years behind cold concrete walls for a crime he never committed, freedom felt like a story he once heard in childhood but never truly believed. When the prison gate opened that morning, he didn't rush out like the others. He didn't scream or cry. He just stood there, completely silent, because sometimes freedom is so big that the heart needs a moment to understand it. That was his first reaction, the reaction every innocent man has when he finally walks out. Total silence. And just when he wondered who he had become after all these years, he heard a voice behind him, soft, warm, unforgettable. Arman. He turned slowly, afraid to believe the sound, but there she was. Aisha, the only person who had ever believed in him. The journalist who followed his case, fought for him, and stood by the truth when the world turned its back. She was standing there with her scarf blowing in the wind and tears shining in her eyes. Arman whispered, "You waited for me?" Aisha stepped closer. "I promised I would." He let out a broken laugh, half joy, half pain. His second reaction, laughing and crying at the same time, because that's what innocent hearts do when they are finally seen again. Aisha smiled through her tears. "The court overturned your case. You are free, Arman. Truly free." The words felt unreal. Arman lowered his head, unable to hold the weight of freedom, and for the first time in years he whispered, "Thank you for not giving up on me." She gently held his wrist. "Come with me." As they walked to her car, the world outside felt too loud, too bright, too fast. Cars honking, teenagers laughing, people rushing to work. Everything overwhelmed him. "It feels like the world moved on without me," he said quietly. Aisha glanced at him with the same certainty she had 7 years ago. "Then we'll help you catch up." She drove him to the beach, the place where he used to paint before his life was stolen. The sea breeze touched his face, and something inside him shattered. His knees weakened, and he collapsed onto the sand. His third reaction, falling to his knees, because touching real earth after years of stone floors can break even the strongest soul. Aisha knelt beside him. "I used to come here," she whispered. "I imagined you painting again someday." He looked at her with tired, gentle eyes. "I don't know if that Arman exists anymore." "Then we'll find him together," she said softly. That night, she brought him to her apartment, not out of pity, but because she knew he had nowhere gentle to rest his heart. The moment he sat on her couch, the silence of the room, the warmth of soft lights, the smell of normal life broke him open. 7 years of pain burst through his chest. He covered his face and cried the way only an innocent man cries when he finally reaches safety. Fourth reaction, emotional breakdown. Aisha didn't speak. She simply wrapped her arms around him and held him like someone holding a life that almost slipped away. "You're safe now," she whispered. "No one can hurt you anymore." Arman leaned into her warmth. Realizing it was the first time in years he felt human. Days passed. Aisha taught him how to use a phone again, how to navigate a digital world that had changed, how to talk to strangers without flinching. She walked beside him in crowded markets, in busy streets, in quiet parks, holding his hand whenever his breath grew unsteady. One evening, as the sun melted into the horizon, Arman stood on her balcony and said, "This world, it scares me." Aisha joined him. "Why?" "Because I'm afraid it'll disappear again." She looked him in the eyes. "It won't. I'm here." For the first time in years, Arman reached out and held her hand tightly. His fifth reaction, holding on to someone as if they're the only real thing in the world. One night during a power outage, candlelight flickered across the room as they sat facing each other. Arman finally asked the question he had carried in his heart for years. "Aisha, why did you stop visiting me?" She swallowed, eyes glistening. "Because I couldn't watch you break every day. Every time I left that place, I cried for hours. I didn't stop caring. I stopped because it hurt too much to see you suffer." Arman stared at her, the truth hitting him deeper than years of pain. "So you didn't abandon me?" "Never," she whispered. "I was gathering strength to fight for your freedom." Arman couldn't hold back anymore. He pulled her into his arms and cried again, this time not from fear but gratitude. His sixth reaction, emotional release, the kind that frees a man completely. Weeks later, Aisha surprised him. "Get ready. I want to show you something." She took him to a small art gallery. As Arman stepped inside, his breath caught in his throat. On the walls were his paintings, the ones he had drawn in her apartment, the ones he made while healing. People stood around, admiring them as if they were windows into a soul reborn. Arman's seventh reaction: disbelief and overwhelming gratitude. He looked at Aisha, unable to speak. "I wanted the world to see you," she said. "The real you." Arman didn't blink. His eyes were filled with tears, tears of freedom, healing, and love. When the gallery closed, Aisha and Arman walked outside into the cool night. She stood in front of him, her voice trembling. "Arman, I'm proud of you." His voice broke. "Aisha, I survived because of you." She stepped closer until their breaths touched. "And I live because of you." He gently cupped her face. "Aisha, may I love you?" Her eyes softened. "You already do." Arman kissed her forehead, and for the first time since he was accused, he felt whole again. Beneath the open sky, with the whole city breathing around them, Arman understood something life-changing. Sometimes the greatest freedom is not walking out of prison. It's walking into the arms of the one who never stopped believing in you.